Hi guys! Shalom! Welcome back to my channel. For those who haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe on my YouTube channel and click the notification bell to be updated on my latest vlog. For today, I decided to share some inspiring words or testimonies or some stories in the Bible and also in my life that I hope will bless you during these trying times. So my sharing today, I entitled it, "The Battle is Not Yours." I really love this verse from the Bible when God is reminding us that the battle is not ours. It's not ours to fight for, it's not ours to take to, but it's Him. It's Him, and He is the one who will fight for us. I know that during this time, during when the pandemic hits, 2020 here in Israel and I don't know, all around the world, because it started in 2019. That's why it's called COVID-19. And when the pandemic hits the world, everything changes. Like I have mentioned, our dream crashes down, our plans get delayed, and there's a lot of changes that happen into our life, in our job, in our family, in our friends, and especially to the world. And when you read the news, there is chaos everywhere. There is this Taliban who's overtaking the country of Afghanistan where the president already fled. There's the earthquake in Haiti. There's a flood in Germany. There's a flood in Taiwan, in China. There's this military overtaking in Myanmar that is still happening until today. And we are facing still with this COVID-19 pandemic all over the world. During these times, we usually think that, where is the hope? Is God still here? Is God looking down from heaven or from above? And is He aware that's everything happening around us? Well, I'm pretty sure that He's aware of everything, and I'm pretty sure that whatever happens, He's still in control of everything. In the world, with all the natures, in your life, with your family, in your job, He is control of everything. And when you let Him take it, and when you give it to Him, I know that He will direct you on whatever path or whatever you are going through right now. I want to start my sharing with you by reading a verse from the book of Judges. It's Judges 7 verse 9. It says, "During that night, the Lord said to Gideon, 'Get up, go down against the camp, because I am going to give it into your hands.'" This verse for me is a very strong indication that when God told you to do something, or where God instruct you to do something, like what He did to Gideon, that go down and get up against the camp, because I am going to give it into your hands. So you're pretty sure, because the God of Israel is with you, the God of the world is with you, so you know exactly that you're going to win the battle, because God said that He will deliver it into your hands. And as the story goes, Gideon got up and fight against the Midianites, and they won, as what God had said. It is very exciting to read many victories that God's people won in the Bible. And oftentimes it is the Lord Himself who delivered them, especially if you are facing an army thrice as big as yours. If I am Gideon on that time, I might ask, are you really sure, God, that I only need the 300 army against this biggest army in front of us? But he trusted God that He knows what He is doing and that He will deliver the enemy into their hands. And He did. We should always remember that when God is involved, the number, the physical ability, and experience does not matter. Even how strategically they plan the battle or every outcome of it. Like in a normal war or in a battle, usually people plan, okay, this is where you should position, or this or that, our army will be here and our army will be there. But when God is involved, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many people are there. It doesn't matter how much you plan on it, because if God says that I will deliver it or you will win the battle, you will definitely win, because God is in your side. And those who come out victorious on all those battles in the Bible are the one who trusted God. So, you know, it reflects on our walk with God today, on this season of time, because now we are facing this pandemic. We are facing all this chaos into the world, which is bigger than what we can imagine. And sometimes we think, what will tomorrow holds, or what will happen tomorrow, what will happen in few months, what will happen in few days, because we don't know what will happen in the future. But one thing is for sure, that God knows what will happen, that whatever is happening now in the world, He is still in control, and He holds everything in the palm of His hands. To tell you honestly, guys, I also feel scared sometimes. I also feel lost sometimes. And when I look at the world now, it's like all I can see is like evil, plague, sadness, death. Everything is just so negative. But behind all of that, you know, whenever I close my eyes to sleep at night, no, God will still remind me that you wake up in the morning. You know, but every time I wake up in the morning, God will still remind me there is still beauty that surrounds me despite of all what is happening. You wake up in the morning and the sun touches your skin, you breathe the fresh air, you hear the chirping of the birds, you eat good food, you have fruits at your table. Those are simple things that God is reminding me that even though, my daughter, this world looks like an evil to you, or like this world is like a fallen world to you, do not forget that there's still beauty in it. There's still beauty in something, because He reminded me that what He created is beautiful. You know, like, actually, when God created the world, He wanted to, it's a paradise. When God created the world, it's a paradise, you know, when it's a paradise that He created for all of us. The trees, the fruits, the oceans, the bodies of water, the sun, the moon. He put it to the sky to lighten up day and night. He created everything perfectly. And He created us in His image and in His likeness. And we know the story of the fall. Our first parents, Adam and Eve, got sin and fall, and then the world became a fallen world. But still, God sent His Son, His only begotten Son, the Messiah, to redeem us from this fall. And He sent Yeshua for us. And from that, we are redeemed. And it's really a very good feeling that when sometimes I'm feeling down, God is still there to remind me that there is still beauty that surrounds you. There's still beauty in simple things. There's still hope in every morning that you wake up. There's still another day that I have created for you to do something out of this world, you know, to experience something. You have the capabilities to think what you want to think. You have to control and give you free will to decide on what you want to do with your life and how you see the world. And He's reminding me always to see the world like in His eye, to see it always with hope, with joy, with excitement, that soon, this will pass. This soon will pass. And as I always say, it will not rain forever. It will not rain forever. The storm will soon pass. And it might sound a bit cliche, but it's really after the rain, there's always rainbow. So it's really, there's always new hope and a new beginning. Okay, so let's go back. Actually, guys, I prepared something. This topic today is I get it from my book. So I get some of my topic on what I'm going to share here in my book. We have read a lot of stories in the Bible, and all those leaders who lead their army into the battle, they both have the fear and faith, and both of them are contagious. You know, as a leader, you may have a fear that what if we lost this battle? How many lives will be lost? Will we able to go back to our camp, or you will have a faith that God will deliver us this battle, or we have a faith that we will conquer another land and that we're going to win this war or this battle. So in every battle, not only in every battle, which I mean is like war, we also have a battle within our minds, that we also have the fear and faith at the same time. And we are undergoing different battles every day, you know? It may be emotional battle, physical battle, you know, mentally when you have a battle within your mind. And every day, we are occasionally fighting a battle within us. We are fighting a battle to survive. We are fighting a battle with an idea against another idea. We are fighting on a battle on something that we believe. So every day we find battle, and on those battles we have a fear and faith that are taking place inside of us. But let's look guys on what the Bible says about all these men and women who lead an army and who really inspire me as well to go on and to fight the battle in my life. So first is we have Gideon and his 300 army. I think most of you are familiar with the story of Gideon. Of course, I love Gideon. By the way, you need to wait for my blog about the archaeological discovery here in the land of Israel, which is connected to Gideon, which is my topic for today. So first is Gideon and his 300 army. We all know that the Lord told to Gideon to gather an army, and he gathered together his 32,000 fighting men. There is an army of 135,000 men against Israel. So as we read in the story of the Bible, the Lord told him, okay, go and get an army, and Gideon has gathered 32,000 men. But still, his enemy had about 135,000 men. And God said to Gideon, you have too many men. So in God's eyes, the 32,000 men is so many. It's too much. God said, you have too many men. Why do you think God told to Gideon, you have too many men, even though his men and his army is 32,000 against 135,000? Elohim told to Gideon that you have too many men because they might think that if they will win the war, they will win it by their own strength. That they will win it by their own strength and they do not need God's help. So he instructed Gideon again to tell his fighting men, those who are afraid, you may leave this mountain and go home. So 22,000 of his fighting men left, leaving only 10,000 who are willing to fight. So the Lord said to Gideon, okay Gideon, you have too many men, and tell to the men that you have chosen that those who doesn't want to fight, they can leave the mountain. Those who are afraid, leave this mountain and go home. And 22,000 of those went home, and only 10,000 remained. But still, God said, it is too many. So he instructed him again to have the man drink at the stream and send home all the people who put their face down to the water to drink. And God said, I will give you victory with 300 men. Wow! And God said to Gideon, I will give you the victory with 300 men. 300 men against 135,000 people. These 300 men would make up his army. You know, God handpicked Gideon's army, not in proving themselves mighty men of valor, but by the different position on how they drink water. You see, it reminds me on how God chose David. You know, David is the smallest among the children of Jesse. Is also the weakest, what we can say the weakest, but still God instructed Samuel to anoint David because he will be the king of Israel one day. God chose us not because of our social status, not on what we have. He chose us because He knows we have the ability to answer on His call. He knows that we can take the responsibility or the calling that He have given to us. Because He created us. He knows us better than we know ourselves because He is our maker. He knows everything about us and how much we can take. So that's why I always says is that God always chose that nobody and turning them into somebody or an ordinary and making their life extraordinary. Because that is how God works. From 32,000 to 200, Gideon's army became only a fraction of what it had been. Surely God knows what He was doing, didn't He? Had He forgotten that Gideon's little band of soldiers would face an experienced army outnumbering them 450 to 1? From all appearances, the situation really made no sense, guys, because they are fighting an army which are more experienced and they are fighting like 450 men against 1. That's the fraction was 300 men against 135,000. But God explained to Gideon for His purpose, allowing him to have such a small army to battle the physical and numerically superior Midianites. He was not about to allow Israel to be able to boast that her own strength had saved her. That honor would be to God alone. And as the story goes on, Gideon and his 300-man army won the war. And after the battle, the people asked Gideon to be their king, but he refused because he knows that there is only one king of Israel, and that is God. I really like that story. Second, we have David and his 400-man army. This is the second example that the battle is not yours, the battle is not ours. So we all know that triumph is the word that runs throughout the Bible. And we know that everyone wants to win the battle they are dealing with. Who wouldn't? Correct? Who wouldn't? But we can learn more about triumph by looking into the life of David and his men. After David defeated Goliath, his victory gave him favor with the Israelites, and he was given the king's daughter to be his wife and a great job at his palace. Because of David gaining popularity, King Saul became jealous of him and decided to kill David. His threat caused David to leave and run for his life, and he ended up hiding in the mountains and caves in the wilderness. And the scripture tells us what happened next. Let me read it to you guys in 1 Samuel 22 verse 1 to 2. David left there and took refuge in the cave of Adullam. When his brothers and the rest of his father's family heard of it, they went down to see him there. Then all the people in distress, in debt or embittered, began gathering around him, and he became their leader. There were about 400 men with him. Did you hear that? Those people who gathered together are those people who are in distress, in debt, or embittered. And they make David their leader. Imagine David during that time that King Saul is chasing after him, and then he end up with this mountain. And King Saul have 1,000 of his soldiers looking for him. And then he was crying out to God to rescue him and to help him during his desperate situation. And what God sent to him? He sent the people that are worse off than him. sent those people that are in distress, in debt, embittered, those who need more counseling and therapy. In short, God sent people who failed, screw up, and were overlooked. But the worst thing about all of those is David became the leader of them. That's the worst thing. That he became the leader of those people who needed more of help than him. So, why did God give to David this kind of people? It makes us think, why did God give David this kind of people? These men may have looked like failures, but God sees their potential and has a great plan for these 400 men. So this is something that human beings cannot see to other human beings, that men cannot see with other men. You know, when someone failed or when someone screwed up, people say, oh, you are a failure, you already screwed up, you are only like this. They usually cannot see the potential of someone. To that people who failed, who made a mistake, who screwed up. But God, He's not. God sees potential into this broken vessel that He can make them whole again. People think that way, that once you are broken, that once you make mistake, once you already in distress, once you failed, it's like everything in your life is a failure and you cannot make it whole again. You know, people look at you like a loser. But God, He doesn't look at us like that. He always says that you always have a potential. Look and see, just trust me on this, and I will make you great. I will make it whole again. I will heal everything that was broken and I will make it new. And this is what God says on those 400 men that He gave to David. David is crying out for help to God. God, rescue me from this. God, rescue me from King Saul who wants to kill me, who wants to end my life. He's crying out to God in those times. And then he realized that what God gave him is just these 400 men who are all on their low point of their life. Let me read to you guys on what the Bible says about David's men after David became the king of Israel. Okay? These are the names of the mighty men whom David had. Joseph-Basshebeth, a Tekomonite, was chief of the three. He raised his spear against 800 men whom he killed in one encounter. Next to him was Eleazar, son of Dodai the Ahohite. As one of the three mighty warriors, he was with David when they counted the Philistines gathered at Pasdanim for battle. Then the Israelites retreated, but Eleazar stood his ground and struck down the Philistines till his hand grew tired and froze to the sword. The Lord brought about a great victory that day. The troops returned to Eleazar, but only to strip the dead. Next to him was Shammah, son of Agi the Haririte. When the Philistines banded together at a place where there was a field full of lentils, Israel's troops fled from them. But Shammah took his stand in the middle of the field. He defended it and struck the Philistines down, and the Lord brought about a great victory. 2 Samuel 23, verse 8 to 12. Wow! Such a great transformation, guys! And it blew me away. And it's just some of the mighty men of David that was mentioned here. They are amazing. You see? Joseph-Basshebeth, he raised his spear against 800 men whom he killed in one encounter. He killed in one encounter 800 men. And then we have Eleazar, who stood on his ground and struck the Philistine till his hand grew tired and froze to the dead. And we have Shammah, took his hand in the middle of the field and defended it and struck the Philistines down. Can you imagine this, guys? Can you imagine what is going on here? Yes, these people are some of the 400 men who were discontented in debt, depressed, and distressed. Such a great transformation as you look at it. They were with David during those times, and I can see that God is really molding all these 400 men throughout the way until David became the king of Israel. And wow, such a great and mighty warrior they become. For becoming such a people who are disconnected, in debt, in distress. For someone that people are calling failure or weak. Wow. Really, and they became such a great man, great mighty warrior of David, that their name was even written in the Bible, that you can even read them in the Bible. I really love all the stories in the Bible because it was really, sometimes when I always read them, it really, I have a very imaginations when I'm imagining and I'm reading the Bible. So it was really amazing on how God transformed their life completely to become a mighty warrior, mighty man of warrior. And in few years' time, they were known and honored as mighty men who overcome the limit of their circumstances and triumph against failure. Because in God, there is no failure. He can use everything. He can use everything that people see as a failure. It was amazing. I really, really love this. I really love this story of David and his 400 men. Such an encouragement to all of us that, in this undying world, that God can transform it into something new and something whole again. And you as a person, we all make mistakes in our life and we all failed. As I shared with my previous blog, all my failures in my life that mold me for who I am now. And I guess if I don't experience all those failures, I don't have anything to share with you guys, and I don't have any learnings that I have now from all those failures. But do you see how God used those failures to mold me as I am now? So it's amazing, really. And I know you failed sometime in our life. Everyone failed. But we must never give up, and we must always try and try and try and try until we succeed. Because as long as we keep trying, and first of all, always give all the glory to God whenever we do something, then God will give us victory. Because it is His name that we raise up and not ours. And the third story that I want to share with you guys is Deborah's army against the 900 chariots of iron of Sisera. When there is no king, God raised up judges. That's the time and period of the Bible when God raised up judges. So we have this portion in the Bible which is called Judges. When during those period of time, Israelites are asking for a king, they are looking for a king, but God raised up judges. For almost 20 years of bondage, Israel cringed like cowards because of the 900 iron of chariot owned by the Canaanites with their commander named Sisera. So for almost 20 years. Almost 20 years, they are all so afraid of the Canaanites because they have this chariot made of iron, and they are so afraid to fight with them. The iron chariot, they are more advanced and they are made of iron and more impressive. Of course, who will not be afraid of the technology that they have during that time or the weapons that they have against the Israelites, so those who have like this. But even if during those times, maybe it's like the technology, but it's like technology against your God. As long as you have God by your side, you will always come out victorious. So imagine how's the iron of chariot looks like. The two horses that are being drawn by it, each chariot is carrying a driver and 4 archers, guys. 4 archers who can shoot anyone. Each chariot have a driver and 4 archers on it, who just keep shooting and shooting in archery with the archers. And on each side of the chariots were extra bows and hundreds of arrows. Imagine that. Would you fight with that kind of chariots? Like, they have 4 archers within the chariot, and they also have the extra bows and hundreds of arrows. They have a lot. They have hundreds of arrows with them. And finally, thank God, finally, the Israelites came to their senses, because the Israelites, they like to worship a lot of gods. And even though, Elohim kept telling to them, you should not worship any god except me. You should not bow down to them. You should not pray to them. You should not offer anything to them. But Israelites are really hard-headed people. And finally, after they came to their senses, they left their idols and prayed to the Lord to save them from the iron of chariots and from proud Sisera. So the Israelites already came to their senses and said, okay, I think it's now time to leave our idol, and we need to pray now to the true God whom our forefathers have told us that there is this God of Israel who is the one and true God that can save us. They always like to commit adultery. What I mean adultery, committing adultery is like, it's like worshiping other idols, worshiping other gods. And that's make them suffer. These actions of them of worshiping or going to other idols make their life miserable. It's one of the commandments that they have received in Mount Sinai, and I know that through all the history it has been passed by to them that there is only one true God, and this is the God of their ancestors. During those days, there is a prophetess who lived in a desert oasis, and her name is Deborah. Deborah said to Barak that God wants him to fight against the Assyrians, against Sisera, who have this chariot of iron. But then Barak hesitated, and then he insisted Deborah to just come with him into the battle. But then Deborah said to Barak that certainly I will go with you, but because of the course you are taking, the honor will not be yours. For the Lord will deliver Sisera in the hands of a woman. Wow. Judges 4 verse 9. Did you hear that, guys? She said to Barak, certainly I will go with you, because Barak asked Deborah to just go with me to the battle. I know that you're a prophet of Adonai. You're a prophetess of God. And God is speaking to you. So come with us in battle. But this is what she answered. Certainly I will go with you, but because of the course you are taking, the honor will not be yours, for the Lord will deliver Sisera into the hands of a woman. Judges 4 verse 9. So, with her army of 10,000 men, they rushed down from the hills, clashing down with the Canaanites' general Sisera near the Kishon River. So Deborah started singing song to God. And when you were singing to God, she said, Lord, when you went out, the heavens dropped, and it rained. The heavens dropped and the clouds poured down in the water, and it rained. It rained during the battle. And when it was raining, it made her so happy that it rained, because the dirt and the dust of the desert plain became sticky, bagging down the heavy iron chariots, and horses sloshed in the mud, and the wheels loaded with sharp blades no longer turned because of the rain became so muddy and sticky, and they won. And then the soldiers jumped out of the chariots. They got stuck in the mud. So God made the pride of Canaan their downfall, and the battle was a total victory. So you see, the only answer is the rain. Let it rain, let it rain. And when God made it rain, that's it. That's the end of the chariot of iron. Even though they're made of iron, since it was in a desert plain, the ground became sticky. As I mentioned, the soldiers went out from the chariot and they're stuck on the mud. They cannot fight properly. And that's how God delivered Deborah's army against the iron of chariot of Sisera. And they won. Then the victory is theirs. When they are defeated, Sisera fled. The commander, he fled. since he is expecting that the army is chasing him, so he take refuge to the Ali's tent, and he was greeted by a woman named Yael. Sisera demanded that to have a water and shelter, but instead, Yael gave him a bowl of meat, and afterward a tent peg through his skull. She killed Sisera. That's how God said that the victory will be on the hand of a woman. All these stories of the great victory of God's armies are triumphing not by their own strength, but because God gave victory into their hands. So yeah, that's it guys. These are some only of the few stories in the Bible where you can see that God delivered the victory into the hands of those that you think are not capable of winning. So also, if you think to yourself that you are not capable of winning into something, don't doubt yourself, because I know you will be able to get it, or you will be able to win if you have God in your side, and if you trust God, if you just offer it to Him. And whatever happens, whether you win or lose in a competition, in a battle, we always give glory to Him. Hope you learned something from this sharing guys, and I hope it blessed you. And please don't look at yourself as a failure, as a mistake, as something that cannot contribute anything on this world, because I know that God created each one of us in this world to contribute something in our own way, in our simple ways. You know, you don't need to do great things. You can just do small things, and it's fine. It's okay. It for you, it's the small things, but in the eyes of God, it's not. You know, just like what I always says, that it's like sin. There's no small sin or big sin to God. Everything to Him is a sin. When you made a small sin, it's also a sin. When you made a big sin, it's also a sin. We should not measure that Lord, I can only do this. Lord, I can only offer like this. Lord, I am not like this. Lord, I am not good at speaking. Lord, I am not good at painting. Lord, I am not good at singing. I cannot dance. I cannot paint. I cannot write. No, because I know that all of us have a gift that God bestowed to each one of us. And if we are just learn how to utilize that and how to search that within ourselves, then God will show it to us that, oh, I can do this. Oh, I can do that. Because to tell you guys, honestly, there's a lot of things in my life that I don't know that I can do unless I try. So I try. That's why they say, unless you try, you never know. If you never try, you never know. You never know that you are good like this. You never know that you can write. You never know that you can speak. You never know that you can help other people in a simple way, because you never try. Always take a leap of faith and always take chances. Always try. Always try things, even if you know that maybe I cannot do it. It's better to try and do it than not to try and not do it, and then you will have regrets in your life. That what if I try? What if you try? So yeah, so I just want to let you know guys that be firm and have faith as the foundation of everything. And as I always remember, even though this world is full of chaos right now and so much things are happening, the battle is not ours. It's not ours. It's the Lord. It's God who will fight for us. And everything that is happening now, it's under His control. There's nothing in the world that is not under His control. There's nothing in the world that He cannot see. There's nothing in the world that He didn't plan. There's nothing in the world that He doesn't know what lies. Because He knows. He said, I am the Alpha and the Omega. I am the beginning and the end. And He is here from the beginning. And He will be with us until the end. So, stay strong. Put your armor with you, which is the armor of faith with you. And just put it with you every day as you walk on your journey in life. And remember that you are not alone in the battle. That every one of us is God's army. Every one of us. and we will fight this battle together. Even though we know it's not ours, but it's Him, and He already gave us victory. So guys, see you again in my next vlog, and thank you so much for watching, and please share this video to everyone. See you again guys on my next vlog. Bye!